Thank you. I'm here not to talk about a specific technology, but about a piece of infrastructure that I think can help all of the technologies in this room, and that is contracting and procurement. Exciting, right? Super exciting. No. Well, I didn't think so until I realized that government spends about $2 trillion a year on external contracts at all levels, and about $800 billion a year just on social services, from homelessness, child welfare, et cetera. Oh, that's kind of exciting. The sad part is that government also admits that they only know about 1 or 2% of that money goes to evidence-based programs and goes to programs that work. So there's not only it's a huge opportunity for improvement, if you look at it from the on the positive side of things. And at Third Sector, I started Third Sector about 6 years ago with the goal of changing how government does business to measurably improve lives and actually move the needle on some of these social programs. So we think there's at least an $800 billion opportunity to change how we do social services in this country every year, and that's something that's pretty exciting. So to think about what we do, first you have to think about how contracting works already in the system. And there are one-way flows of information, right? So you have resources that are deployed very much on a top-down from the feds, very prescriptive, focused on compliance. And those go to services that are delivered in a cost reimbursement way. It's all about what you did, not what you achieved. And then at the end of the day, you submit a report talking about what you did, and then we do the same thing over and over again. I believe someone said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That is currently how contracting and procurement works in this country. But there's a new thing under the sun, which many of you guys are talking about, which is big data, or the ability to actually get more data and information about how these services are operating and what they're achieving. There's an opportunity to create contracts that actually procure for outcomes and use data as part of the contracting process to create feedback loops for how resources are deployed to those services in a way that's for value versus volume, and also for how those services can course correct and improve over time with their data. And so at Third Sector, we provide consulting services to work specifically with governments and with technology partners to make sure that those solutions are embedded in that contracting and procurement process. So really taking procurement up into the 21st century. So we really believe that if you can just orient some of that $800 billion that's going out the door, some of that $2 trillion that's going out the door, we're going to be able to measurably move the needle on some of these big social problems, like homelessness, child welfare, education outcomes. And we believe you have to do that by moving from this prescriptive and reactive mindset, working at both the community level and at the federal level, to move folks from compliance focus with their data to outcomes focus with their data, to help folks build that learning mindset within their contracts that can move them to actually stopping to pay for those things that haven't worked, that they've been funding forever, and focusing on those programs, those innovative technologies that are able to change the way our communities are functioning. So far, it's a crazy idea, but we've been doing this for about 6 years. We've moved almost 50 million in government contracts, specifically within California and across the country. And we've also affected federal policy. Turns out that outcomes-oriented contracting is a bipartisan, is one of the only things folks can agree on in Washington today. And so far, we've got enabling legislation in workforce, education, and now they're looking to include performance measures in Head Start as well. And so for places like Santa Clara County, which is down the road in the South Bay, they're using pay-for-performance and outcomes-oriented contracting as a way to solve problems like homelessness and move from paying for literally heads in beds and shelters to paying for months of stable housing. So this is what this looks like. This is what this shift looks like within government, and the opportunity is to take that across communities and across up through the federal government to really, again, take all of this data that is now available to us for these social problems and combine it with contracting to really make sure the money that goes out the door is changing how government does business. Thank you.